Alright guys, it's me the Tycoon coming back to you with another review. And this is of Daredevil, Born Again Season 1 overview. So let's get into it. It looks as though for the MCU's Phase 5, Kevin Feige has decided to hit the reset button in terms of the tonality of this particular MCU universe. It's gone a bit more darker, a bit more grittier, a bit less jokey, and much more street level would be the best way of putting this. This is not Daredevil Born Again, the Frank Miller comics. That's as far as it goes. It's just in the name only. This is more in line with Devil's Reign from Secret Empire. If you understand anything to do with the reset button that was hit in the Marvel comics after Secret Wars 2015, yeah, Secret Empire was actually the event. It was brilliant, and this show is actually based off of that. So let's get into the actual season itself, because there's a lot to cover. It's 9 episodes long. It was around 45 minutes to an hour each episode. So it's been released on of course, Disney Plus, and yeah, the series is great. It had all the returning characters from the Netflix Daredevil series, where we all thought that wasn't going to be the case, and we all thought that it was going to be a little bit more toned down would be the best way of putting it. And yes, it is toned down, because the idea that it's done hasn't gone for gritty reality. And you see that in the first episode, in the first 15 minutes of the first episode, is that they did bring in the superhero element of Daredevil swinging through the city trying to save Foggy Nelson, who's only there for 5 minutes before he gets killed off by Bullseye. Sorry guys, spoiler alert. But everyone's come back in. You see Karen Page, you see Foggy Nelson, Daredevil, Matt Murdock going to a bar, having a great time, and then Bullseye comes along and changes it all, to the point whereby Daredevil wishes that he did kill Bullseye by throwing him off a building. And Bullseye survives. So this series is set 1 year after those events. And you now see the return of the Kingpin. During that time that the Kingpin's been away, Vanessa, his wife, took over the business and rebuilt up the empire. And Kingpin, Wilson Fisk actually came out and said that he had to take some time to recuperate, regenerate, bring his mind back into the right way of doing things. And one of the things that he wanted to do strongly was to make New York a better city again by becoming the mayor. And using a lot of the tactics, and again, this is real world commentary that we've seen recently, but using some of the tactics that have been out there, he wins the mayoralty, becomes the mayor of New York, and goes after all vigilantes. And the series looks into that. It looks into the different aspects of vigilantism, how people react between, what they feel would be the saviors versus, these guys are taking the law into their own hands, and the trust with the police, because there is no trust in the police. They seem to be a law unto themselves most of the time, doing as they want to do when they feel like doing it. And that gets explored a little bit more. You also see some of the characters coming back, and introductions of 2 new characters in this universe. The first character who's introduced is White Tiger, played by Kamar de la Rios. Please forgive me if I mispronounce that, but rest in peace. He passed away from cancer shortly while filming, and that's why they cut his character short. And you see that in episode 3 where he brutally gets killed. Yeah, I know I'm doing a lot of spoilers here, but it quickly moves on, and then you get another bad villain in the name of Muse, and how he does things as well. Again, a lot of things you have to leave to the world of superheroism and superhero logic, such as how did Daredevil find this guy? He doesn't have echolocation in the same way as bats do. But how did he find him? That kind of thing. This is where comic book logic comes into this, and we see that the fight scenes are still fantastic, and it goes into a much deeper environment, and you do have to stay on track, including some of the other relationships that are taking place between Wilson Fisk and Vanessa Fisk, rekindling their relationship. Even though he'd been away, he's now come back into her life, and then you see that she potentially could have had an affair with a guy called Adam that Wilson Fisk has locked up and almost kills, but doesn't. You know, Vanessa does that. And we find out closer to the end of the series that Vanessa Fisk is actually really the female version of the Kingpin now. She's done a really bad job in some very good ways, really the best way of putting it. Bullseye. He's not that smart-mouthed, one-liner kind of... He's very serious. He's very calculating. He knows what he needs to do. And they reintroduce that character extremely well. Especially his prison side and how he escapes from prison. Yeah, I know, I'm getting spoiler territories here. But the series itself delves into so many different aspects. And you see the Punisher coming back in. Karen Page comes back again, trying to get the relationship that they once had going again. It is tough because it's set 1 year after the death of Foggy Nelson. Being killed off by Bullseye at the beginning. But the action is brilliant. Fast-paced is the best way of putting it. The tone is heavy drama. And there are some brilliant acting scenes in this between Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk. Charlie Cox and Benicio... I forgot what the guy's name is now. And I shouldn't forget what his name is, but the Kingpin. John Bernthal was back as well as the Punisher, and he has a great scene with Daredevil. And you're seeing the New York police becoming, under the Safer Streets initiative, they're becoming the mayor's own personal bodyguards and hit squad. They're just violating every single code of practice. And you see Wilson Fisk, he's just not taking any prisoners, and if anyone gets in his way, he's eliminating them, even if they are gangsters. It doesn't matter to him. So the series is still very dramatic and still fast-paced. You will get elements within the series where they slow down the pace just a little bit more and bring a bit of humour back into it and show why Daredevil has returned. And it's because Matt Murdock can't stay away from that life. He just can't. And you see that in the bank robbery episode, where you see Kamala Khan's father play the bank assistant manager, which is actually really fun. And it introduces some of the other characters as well. Plus, you also see a good street take in terms of reporting using the BB News, which is like just a vlog, but it's a reporter's ambition. And BB is actually the niece of Ben Urich, who was killed off by the Kingpin. So they've linked it all in. They left the season finale not as a big all-out, everyone goes down, and no, they didn't leave it like that. They left it on a cliffhanger, and the reintroduction of Daredevil again to New York City. Because people are feeling with what Wilson Fisk is doing by bringing in the curfew, Safe Streets Act, all the rest of that kind of stuff, is violating all the freedoms. But that is exactly what he'd done to get rid of the vigilantes in the comics, in Devil's Reign. And he's doing that in this. And of course, Daredevil is now going to reunite the street-level heroes. So clearly that's what they're going to be doing in Season 2, is bringing in Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and all the other characters, Jessica Jones as well. I'm looking forward to it, actually, and I would strongly recommend that you catch up with the series too. I know I've given a lot away. But, as always, guys, whichever platform you're watching this on, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, give me a like, give me a follow. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments. And if you guys don't know how to do that, you'll need to go back to school. So says the Tycoon.